everybody. I thought I would come on this afternoon and I want to make another one of these little file folder journals, but there's something about this one that I'm not as happy as I could be with. Well, I love this book. The pockets are tight, okay? And I will put a link to the version 1 in here, but we're going to make version 2. And in version 2, I'm going to put gussets in the edges of all of my pockets. So, and across the back of the spine, so that everything has a little bit more room in it. It'll make the spine a little thicker. It'll make the pockets easier to get things in and out of. At least I think that's the way it's going to end up. But I'm going to basically do the same kind of little book, but I'm going to be adding these little gussets in the pocket areas. And so I thought I'd come on and make a version 2 base so that you could see what I'm talking about. And I have long legal size file folders. I just happen to have a whole big box of them, so that's what I'm using. I happen to like that size. If you didn't have that size, you can use the smaller one. As you see, it's just going to be a little shorter of a book, and it's going to have a little bit more square look to it, but I think it would work perfectly fine. I just choose to use these, and I have a lot of them. So the first thing we have to do is to cut our file folders in half, and it doesn't matter which size file folder you have, but you have to measure to see. And if I remember right, on the last one, this file folder is just it's a little touch hard to figure out which is what the size is. So I'm going to measure it and see. The division, the math is just a little odd. So yeah, it's like 14 5/8. So I'm just going to take a sliver off this end, and then I'll turn it around and make it 14 inches even. If we make it 14 inches even, then the division is exactly 7 inches. Or, no, it's 14 and a half, but that means we can do 7 1/4. Basically, I'm taking 1/8 or so inch off of each edge. And now I can make this 7 1/4. And I like using the file folders with the middle tab, because then all of my pages have sort of a tab on them. See, now they're exactly the same. So we're going to do that to 2 file folders. Oh, I got a little more off that end that time. So. Basically, my little journal will be 7 1/4 inches tall. And I was cut twice on, well, see, and that one didn't cut real well, but it's fine. We're just going to set this aside because we're going to need it again. And see, now they're all 7¼ inches tall. The next thing is to create our fold lines in here. And this measurement, let me measure it to double check it. Yeah. This measurement from here to the top to this edge, not counting the little tab, is 9 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to score at 4½ inches. And I always open the file folder and score one sheet at a time, because file folders are pretty sturdy, pretty sturdy material, and if you try to score both sides, it does not score real well. So I just turn it around. And score those. And we're going to score all 4 pieces the same way. Now you often do it twice, just on this particular type material. Like I said, it's pretty tough. I was extremely pleased with how well the little journal came out. I hope I just did that last one right. We'll find out. Oh, good, I did. Avalanche over there. Okay, we're going to set the scoreboard aside because we're going to need it again. And what we need to do now is to fold these file folders on the score line back and forth. So what it does is it kind of makes like an M or a W, however you want to look at it. Okay. It's sort of like a zigzag fold. And we're going to fold all 4 pieces that same way. It helps if you use your bone folder to put them down. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to put these, we're going to lay these all together like so. We're going to have a big flap on the top, and then as we fold this over, we have a big flap on the bottom. And then I want my big flap one on the top, and then the next piece is the big flap on the bottom. Now another thing I found when I did the last journal was that I'm not happy with the fact that the back doesn't have one of these big flaps. So what I'm going to do is take a scrap, because I have scraps from other file folders, from other projects, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to create a piece that is the same as my front cover. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure how deep it is across this tab, and it is 5 inches. So I need a piece that is 7 inches tall by 5 inches wide, and I'm just going to cut that out of a scrap piece of file folder. And set that aside. We are going to need, besides our 2 file folders, we're going to need a little bit of scrap. Oh, it should be 7 1/4 inches tall. Excuse me for doing that wrong. Alrighty, we got pretty much square. So you're going to want an extra file folder if you don't have one already that you can use. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to line up the edge with the fold. Lay it down. Take a pencil and just draw like so that I can create another little file folder piece. Scissors here. Just like so. And then this piece can then be added to the back of our journal. Let's see, we have this piece goes on the front, and this piece will be added to the back. And now I don't have all of my tabs and things sticking out. It just gives it a little bit cleaner, nicer look. Okay? Now because I want to make gussets in all of these pockets, what I am going to do is I'm going to cut some little pieces to use as the gussets. And I know that I want them to be 1 inch wide and the 7 1/4 inch tall. So again, I'm going to just take a piece of scrap. Now you could use regular cardstock for this part. It's not something that you that's going to really show. I just happen to have scrap of this. Now I only cut 2 because I pre-cut a whole bunch. Then we're going to take our scoreboard and we're going to score these right down the middle. So they were 1 inch wide, so it needs to be scored at a 1/2 inch. And you're going to need a bunch of these. I don't know if I've got enough cut or not, honestly. And then we're going to just fold all those pieces in half right along the little score mark. Now, I'm going to, for the most part, glue this together, but it really helps to hold everything in place if you have little pieces of tape, double-sided tape, and you can use whichever double-sided tape you happen to like, but I'm just going to use this, I think they call it red line tape. It's just, and I'm going to put the little bits of tape on the ends right beside the fold. Fine, these scissors cut that better. And I'm going to do this to both sides of our little pieces. This will just hold things in place while we're getting everything sorted out with the glue. And I like to burnish these down right now while I'm thinking about it. It just seems to make that plastic come off better. I've been looking for the tape that's not plastic because the paper I think would be a lot easier to deal with. This plastic seems to get very, it has a lot of static in it when you're trying to get rid of it off your project. Okay. That's a little wide right there. I think I'll trim off with a little bit of that. I must not have been as careful as I should have been. And this is not a real big issue here. You're not going to see this. What you will see is the little folded edge. And then to actually put this together, I'm going to use this Tombow Mono liquid glue. I use a lot of this glue because it has a real fine applicator and it seems to dry up nice and clear and works real well for me. So now I have laid these together, like I said, in the manner I want them to go together. Every time that I have a folded edge in the center, when I put this together, I'll be putting it together across the backs or the spine and across the bottom. Then when I get to where I have to put two sections together, I'll be putting it together across the spine and up both sides right in here. And that will give me a side pocket. So I'll have top pockets here and side pockets here. And I did that as well in the other video. I just didn't put the gussets in. So to do this, I'm just going to kind of open it like this. And remember, bottom, this side, that's how we're going to put it together. And I'm going to peel off my tape. I'll have little red pieces of plastic tape stuck to me for forever. And I'm going to put glue on it. And you don't need a tremendous amount of glue. Well, there's none in the middle right there. And I'm going to lay this fold right against this fold. And guys, I'm going to have to turn this a different way for me. It might make more sense for you, but... And see, I just did that wrong. Oh dear, no. There we go. All right, it'll be okay. But I'm going to turn it to where I can see the folds better, which means I'm going to turn it this way. I just can't see the folds that way, so we'll just go like that. Now, across this bottom part here, I can use pieces of this, and I had this little piece before, and it's not so important to have this taped down because the part that's holding it together is here. I might use some that's got tape, but this piece doesn't have any, so yeah, maybe we'll just go ahead and put it on there. It might just be easier. Now then, since I changed the orientation of the book, I need to look at it. Okay. I needed to see which was the bottom. The bottom's over here. And I use this little pokey tool to get this tape up. Okay. All right. Let's try this. There we go. You don't want to put too much glue on here because you do not want to be gluing your pages together everywhere accidentally. What we're going to do is we're just going to fold this down like so. And see, the tape nicely holds everything down. Okay, now we're putting two sections together, and every time we have to put two sections together, we're doing the sides and across the bottom. So and now by having the fold down here where I can see it, it just makes it easier to get this lined up properly. Okay. Now, we don't want these pieces to stick out farther than the edges of our pocket. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this just a little bit below the top here. So I can use that one over there, and I can use this one over here. this is just going to make our book just a little bit more open. By burnishing the pieces down, it really helps to get that plastic part of the tape off. And I don't know if you've watched, but I finished up my little fall book, and I want to start a new one. That's why I wanted another base. I have not decided on the new one's theme yet, but it'll be something. I was very pleased with how the fall one came out. Okay. Sorry if I've put my hands in the way, guys. Sometimes I have to just get my fingers in there and hold on to things. Okay. Now, when we go to put these two pieces together, we have to be a little bit careful. So I'm going to turn the whole thing upside down like this and get the back or the spine lined up before I start laying anything down. I knew it was a little dark in here today. I just realized I did not turn on one of my lights. There we go. Okay. And we push it all down like so. Now, before I go on, I'm just going to kind of show you what happens. See here, now I have some room to put my fingers in this pocket. I have room to put my fingers in that pocket. And I will continue to put this together that way. So I'm going to open this back up. And this next one we're going to go across the bottom and up the side. And I think what I'm going to do is turn the sound off so that I can speed this part up, because this takes a little while. Let me just go ahead and do that.
turned on silent, hun. Why? Yes, I know.
Okay, guys. If you noticed, somewhere along the line I realized I might have turned things upside down. I had to stop and double check all of my pages to make sure that my top loading pockets, I wasn't putting them in the wrong way. So like I said, there's a top loading pocket, then the side, then the top, then the side, then the top. My fingers don't want to go in it. There we go. Side, top, and then because we added the last single page to the back, I have another page back there. Now I will go through and round all the corners of my pages, just because I thought it looked nice. It takes quite a bit to punch the 2-layer ones, so I probably won't make you sit and wait through all that, but so I'll be doing all that to it before I start working on it. Another thing is that some of my little gussets were a little bit long, so when it dries and I'm not moving things around too much, I'm going to go through here and trim those off. They were from a scrap that I guess was just a little longer than the others. I will probably put this under some weight, a few books or something, until it dries, so that it's pushed together real well. The spine didn't line up as pretty as the last one, but I covered the last spine anyways, like so. So that doesn't bother me. There were a lot more pieces in this spine, so that's interesting. I'm gonna need to get some extra glue on that maybe. So that's my file folder pocket journal version 2 with gussets so that these open better. And thanks for coming by and watching, and I hope you're having a great day. As always lately, I'm going to read you a quote from the 1001 Ways to Creativity. Oh, I like this one. The real voyage of discovery lies not in finding new lands, but in seeing with new eyes. Marcel Proust. So guys, have a great afternoon. Make some art. Bye-bye.